Hello, everybody. Today we are going to discuss very quickly how to go for the time response of second order system. So this is a very, you can say, lengthy topic. I'm just trying to summarize it very quickly, right? As you already know, time response is nothing but study of how output of a system changes with respect to time when there is a input is subjected to change in time. That is, input is changed with respect to time, right? It has two parts, transient response and steady state response. In transient, output is changing, and in steady state, the output has settled down to some steady value with respect to time. Second order system is nothing but the system which is having highest order of S as 2 in a closed loop transfer function, or in other words, it can be described by a second order differential equation. It, of course, has two energy storing elements. Example is RLC series circuit or RLC parallel circuit. The block diagram shows the standard second order system where the omega n is called undamped natural frequency. It is measured in radians per second, and zeta is called damping ratio. So we are going to use this standard second order system for our analysis. Now, suppose we apply a step signal to the standard second order system, then this Rs is going to be 1 by S. So output Cs is going to be 1 by S into omega n square divided by S square plus 2 to 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square, right? Now, if we just represent it properly and take Laplace inverse, we are going to get the C of t. So for that, we should know that the second term in the multiplication is having denominator s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. And if we equate to 0, it is a quadratic equation which is having two roots as shown, right? So these are going to be the roots if zeta is greater than 1. That means if the square root of zeta square minus 1 is positive, or if the roots, you can say in general, are real, right? So let's say first case, let's assume that this zeta is greater than 1, or roots are real, right? So in that case, we let's say rename the term omega n into square root of zeta square minus 1 as omega d, which is called damped natural frequency. If we put this in the first equation and we use the partial fraction expansion, we get the term as a1 by s plus a2 divided by s plus zeta omega n minus omega d plus a3 divided by s plus zeta omega n plus omega d. OD is missing over here. So you can see that if I take Laplace inverse of this particular expression, I'm get more or less as say 1 plus some e raised to minus at term plus some e raised to minus bt term. So in and all, it is nothing but going to be a response similar to the first order system. Such a system is known as over damped system. Now here we are coming across a word damp. So let us see what do you mean by damped system, right? So over damped system means the step response is similar to the first order. There are it is slow if damping ratio is large. So if zeta is greater than 1, if zeta is say 2, 3, 4, the larger the value of zeta, slower is going to be the response. That means it is going to take more time from 0 to reach final steady value, right? So now you can see the main feature of this system is there is no oscillations in the system, right? So this is a slower system. Now, damping is the word which is coming across in this for the first time. So damping is nothing but the process of suppressing or reducing the oscillations is called damping, right? Now, you can see this is an over damped system. So damping is such a large value that there is no oscillations at all. System, why there are oscillations? Because system having two energy storing elements, it may subject it to oscillations. Energy transfer may take place from one to a second and from second to the first, and that may lead to oscillations. And to suppress, we use damping. If the damping is more than what is required, we get over damped system with no oscillations as shown. So here, good part is there is no oscillation, and bad part is that it makes system slower. Higher the damping ratio, that means higher the amount of damping provided, slower is the system. Of course, it is very slow. Now, if I have a zeta is equal to 1, if I substitute zeta is equal to 1 in our original equation, then I get CS is in this form. Very easily, you can have a partial fraction expansion. And we can prove that C of t is going to be 1 minus e raised to minus zeta omega, omega n t plus some constant part, which is 1 plus omega n t, right? Now, the overall curve is going to be just like a first order system, but the quickest one. So zeta is equal to 1 is an ideal response. We want our system to be like this, quickly reaching the final value. And ideally, all the systems should be having this situation. But it is very difficult to design a system with zeta is equal to 1. And with the age also, the damping ratio may change. So this is ideal situation, which is our goal. Now, underdamped system is situation when the zeta is less than 1. So you can see the original equation is this. In this situation, if the quadratic equation is having zeta less than 1, then the square root of zeta square minus 1 is going to be a negative number. Negative number square root is a complex. And therefore, we get a complex root. So if I substitute it in complex form, then I get two complex roots. And in a similar fashion, if I take partial fraction expansion and take Laplace inverse, finally I get an expression which is 1 minus a term which is e raised to minus zeta omega nt, similar to the first order system, an exponentially decaying term into a sine term, right? So it is showing the oscillation. So it is nothing but a combination of oscillations plus exponentially decaying term. So if I plot the output is going to be like this. You can see the dotted exponentially decaying term. So in this particular envelope, the oscillations are gradually decreasing. So what are the features of an underdamped system? An underdamped system is having oscillations. Output overshoots, it exceeds the final steady value in the first few oscillations. And you can see the damping takes it to steady value after some oscillations. More oscillations are there if the damping ratio is poor, that means less. So compared to the damping ratio, say 0.8, damping ratio 0.2 will have more oscillations, right? This is a standard waveform of a second order time response with underdamped situation, underdamped damping ratio zeta less than 1. We can see over here that it is having some very popular terms which are used to define the system response. And why second order is very popular? Because we design generally most of the system with the damping ratio around 0.8, 0.85, 0.9. So with the age, it is going to increase and it is going to go towards zeta is equal to 1. System's performance will always be as per our desired requirement, and it will be quick. So we design system to be underdamped system with zeta almost 0.8 to 0.9. In this situation, we also would like to remind you that most of the higher order system, which are of third order, fourth order, or higher nth order system, can also be approximated by a equivalent second order system by identifying its two dominant you can say roots or poles, which are used to describe the equivalent second order system. So if you have a second order and its analysis, any higher order systems approximate analysis is also available, and that's why second order and underdamped time response is very important. Now the important terms over here are, first is delay time, TD. It is time required to rise from 0 to 50% value for the output, right? So you can see it is taking, say, certain seconds, TD. We want a system to have a less delay time. Now, rise time is the time required to reach from 0 to 100% in case of underdamped system. And if system is overdamped system, it is time required to reach from 10% to 90% output value, right? Now, TP is nothing but the peak time. It is the time at which first peak occurs in case of this oscillatory underdamped response. And peak overshoot is the amount of magnitude which is higher than the steady output value that is which expected from this output, right? So this is CT max minus 1 over here is going to be the peak overshoot. Settling time, as we already know, is the time after which system settles to the steady value or it reaches 98% of the final steady value, right? So with this, the peak overshoot mathematically you can find out in this fashion. To find peak overshoot, you are supposed to find CT max. For that, you have to differentiate the output equation with respect to time. If you differentiate and equate to 0, you get the peak time as pi by omega d. And if you substitute this value, you get CT max as 1 plus e raised to minus pi zeta over square root of 1 minus zeta square. So from that, using the formula, I get percentage peak overshoot as e raised to minus pi zeta over square root of 1 minus zeta square into 100, right? So this is how you can find out percentage overshoot. We expect a system should have a very less overshoot, right? So that is the requirement. Rise time, as we have already discussed, that is the time required to rise from 0 to 100% for the first time for an underdamped response. And if I substitute the value that CT is equal to 1 for T is equal to T gap, then I can derive that rise time is given by pi minus phi divided by omega t, right? So this is how I can find out what is rise time also. I want a system to have a very less rise time, right? So these are the parameters which are important. Yeah, you can see that e raised to minus zeta omega and t term is similar to e raised to minus t by t term of a first order system. So 1 by t is equal to zeta omega n, or I can say the time constant of the second order system is 1 over zeta omega n, right? This is the how you can remember what is time constant of the second order system. And we all know that approximately settling time is 4 times the time constant. So settling time is also 4 into 1 upon zeta omega n, that is equal to 4 divided by zeta omega n, right? So using this mathematical formulas, we can deal with the mathematics part or numerical part of the second order response. So these are the list of formulas. So you can see if I already have a second order system, I can compare and find out what is natural frequency omega n, what is its damping ratio, and then I can, without plotting it, I can say whether it's going to be overdamped response or whether it's going to be underdamped or critically damped, right? So this is all about the second order system. A second order system is having 3 options, and the performance depends on what is the damping ratio, right? So it is interesting to know that for different system, what is its damping ratio and how you can control it, right? So that's all in this brief summary of second order system. We'll continue with the more of it in our next class.